22nd game. So we are going to game 6, and it's time to find out what our potential final game, or at least the second to last game, is. Towers of Doom.
Oh man, this is the map to go to, that's for sure. This map can just get so intense, always down to the wire, you know, because with this map, you actually have to cap the objective in order to win the game. Or of course, you just push in pumpkins all day, but that doesn't usually happen, you know?
Pushing pumpkins.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Sappers.
Sappers, yeah. I mean, this is definitely one of my favorite maps with the late game decision making that comes into play, because technically, you can just draft for the late game, right? And we've seen teams approach it in that way. Medivh is another big point here. That was the first time where we saw Maiev get through the ban phase, because it ended up being Genji and the Medivh for the bans. And Maiev was the snap first pick, as you might expect. So I don't know if that's going to happen again, but like that's the tough thing here. If you're LFM, I almost think XD is going to ban Genji again. And that makes the bans awkward, right? Does Medivh get through? Does Maiev get through?
I'm not sure. It's all just up to preference. That's the most exciting part, you know, because these teams can play any of those styles of drafts. But for me, the biggest thing is put Tiger on an aggro warrior. Give him either one of Garrosh, Diablo, nothing else. Like seriously, just give him these 2 warriors and he will do something with them during the early game.
The other interesting thing here is, you know, Hami, who is very comfortable on the tank role, we saw him play Tassadar, saw him on Dahaka,
yeah,
good stuff. So I honestly think like you also have to look at Abathur bans. You have to look at Dahaka for the global. There's so many different points to these first picks and the bans and the ways these teams are going to like approach this game based on the little isolated meta that's formed in this series and the normal meta that exists on the map colliding with each other. It's going to be good, man. I have like no clue how they're going to approach it.
I don't know what's going to happen. I think there's no way Maiev gets through, right? Again, I don't think so.
But what about Abathur? Are you going to let Abathur through?
I guess, yeah.
Right? You're gonna let Medivh through?
That's why I like this meta, honestly.
Yeah, that's why this map is so good too, because there's so many heroes that are just of purpose.
Yeah.
Like, and
it's Tracer's map.
Okay.
Or a Tracer map.
Coach's mentality. You coach Tempo Storm. If you're in this situation, do you say, okay, what player is giving us the biggest issue and approach it from there and just target ban them in this situation where there's so many options? Or do you base the ban on your draft?
I would base the ban on what is I think it's absolutely true. Given this exact situation, I would get rid of Genji. Like, it's
if you're XD.
If I'm XD, yes.
But if you're LFM,
is it
Dahaka? Do you just stick to an Abbott? Like what?
I think, yeah, entering onto this specific map, absolutely. I would get rid of one of Abathur or Dahaka because you don't want to play against that sort of stuff. You want it to be a more even game. Unless you're completely comfortable playing against one of those drafts, then you let it through and you kind of just like pseudo bait them into it. But you have to be. Those are drafts that they can go either way.
The 2 wins that we have, the only exact thing is there was the Garrosh and the Dahaka for XD in both games when they won. And I think that's part of why it looks so good, because they're dictating the control of the front line and not just conceding territory.
And it seems like they play well with the global. So
absolutely, yeah.
I think that they should try to get one of those heroes, maybe just like even up the priority on Dahaka. We will see what happens with the Abathur. That's the biggest thing. Maybe Abathur gets banned, and then that'll say that Dahaka's priority just absolutely skyrockets. Again, this could be it for LFM. You know, they've got 3 wins so far, but 2 wins on the side of XD. They are clawing their way back into this series. Towers of Doom, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to it.
Medivh is the one that receives the first ban. This puts the burden of the global ban on XD, or maybe they just don't do it. Maybe they ban Genji and leave the options there. And I would love that call. Leave Abathur and Dahaka so the teams can match each other. But the problem then is Maiev. And Maiev Abathur, okay. So they go for
both of those are now up. You know, Dahaka, Abathur, both here. LFM, what is it? Is it their Malfurion? Malfurion's so good in general, and I just love him on this map. I think that is definitely something that LFM could go with. So they do. They choose Malfurion as their first pick. This is it. This is so important. What is their 1-2? They can go Garrosh and Hanzo. Again, I think that's absolutely appropriate, or they can run with something different. Did they look really good with that opener?
I'm really expecting the Dahaka here. And I know that's not the common thing. But you're basically saying, if we don't pick Dahaka or a global right now, they're going to ban the optimal global, Dahaka or Avatar, whichever one they don't choose. And then you're forced into like ATC with stage dive or something to deal with it.
Which they're fine with.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
No, XG is fine playing against it, sorry, is what I mean.
Yeah.
Because they won against it earlier. I think that could very well be their route.
But I'm saying XD, if they're forced into playing stage dive themselves,
if
they don't pick, if they don't pick Dahaka here, so they do it. They go for the Dahaka and they go for the Garrosh, and this is what I like to see because I think we're going to see an Abathur here.
We could. That's one of their options. Other is a late Falstad
or the ETC, right.
or an ETC style comp. But so far, the Falstad not looking good. The ETC didn't look good. Those were their losses. So what do they do? That's the question. Blaze is their pickup, and Genji. So Genji able to float, between lanes, and of course, straighted on Genji. It's been a powerhouse in this series so far.
I mean, it received respect bans for a reason, that is for sure. All right, what do you think? What's the hero you're most worried about, knowing these three so far? Targeting a warrior doesn't really make too much sense to me, unless you want to just remove ETC so they don't have the stage dive and force them into Abathur, but does that help you?
I think that would be a pretty good ban. You can also ban off Johanna because you have the Garrosh comp. There's so many good bans. Yeah, you can ban Abathur to just get rid of the blanket cheese, if you will. You can ban Johanna. You can ban Jaina at this point too. But there's so many different bans that are appropriate. Anubarak, another just one of the warrior bans. I think banning a warrior is the smartest thing. To me, it was either ETC, Anub. I don't think they would run Tyrael again.
There's the Stukov. So when you get into these crazy situations, guess what? Tassadar and Hanzo are both still on the table. When you lose the Stukov, sometimes you want to play a little bit more defensible with that second half support of Tassadar. Could be considered here.
You want the Tass, eh? Hanzo Tass? Is that it?
I want trees on Hanzo. Yeah, and the thing is Hami has been playing Tass and Dahaka. So then they have to flex it up, mix it up. It's not, I mean, I'm sure Cover could play the Tass if given, the necessity. But.
Yeah, Tassadar is, a hero that most people can play, I think, in these situations. But what is it going to be? I personally think that you have to run a Hanzo here, but you're playing it against a Genji, and that can be a little bit, not scary, but also Phoenix is available.
Good point.
That could be a pickup for XD. Haven't seen him prioritize quite as much. Greymane.
All right. Okay. Total different route. They go Greymane, Li Ming for aggressive and just kill potential.
See, I like that Greymane was picked up instead of Hanzo just for one reason. The fact that Greymane matches Genji better than Hanzo matches Genji. Because if Genji's the one who aggresses onto Hanzo, Genji can win that matchup. But Greymane is a fantastic match to the Genji. As soon as he goes in on the team fight, you can just Dark Flight onto him and you're good to go. He basically has to cyber agility away and try to get away from that fight.
Yeah, deflect and disengage,
Exactly. The matchup is definitely in favor of Greymane. And of course, Garrosh, he finds a taunt. You've got either Curse Bullet or go for the throat there to try to secure a single kill. And then Li Ming, too, with that burst damage. I like XD's route here. I think the Greymane is different, but
I mean, I think that's what I'm most excited about here is this is actually a very different style of draft than what they've been playing. They're just kind of mixing it up and trying to keep the tempo different, I guess, for LFM.
2 seconds. There's the Jaina. So something that I mentioned could have been banned out, and ETC. Yeah, so ETC going to be that pseudo-global. Basically, Blaze will be with the team, or just clearing if he can at level 10. And Jaina, the burst damage as well. Lots of follow-up. You got Power Slide, you've got Jet Propulsion.
Oh, yeah.
Jaina follow-up is going to be powerful here.
You got the bunker to give her safety. Buy space for that Malfurion to step in, get the heals, get the Tranquility, which is the likely pickup here in this composition. Last pick has to be a healer. We did see them play Rhaegar a bit earlier. The need for cleanse is there. And I don't hate Rhaegar on this map. What are you feeling?
That could be it. Lucio could be the other option. You have the Garrosh and Lucio combo. This map tends to go pretty late, which is where Lucio really starts gaining his value, you know, past 16. Yeah, so I like the Lucio better than Rehgar here, I think. But, you know, Cleanse is almost invaluable given the style of comp that LFM has. So that was a good point that you made, that's for sure.
At least you got the boop to deal with the power slide, the jet propulsion. Just boop him away.
On your nose.
It's not Somber, he's Lucio.
Well,
get it right.
Tomato, potato.
But regardless, this is match point here for the side of LFM. And the winner of the series is in HGC next season. Straight up. This is it. No redoozies. This is a one and done best of 7 series that gives every single player the salary and the right to compete in the top 8 teams of the HGC Pro League in North America. And, you know, we have players here that have been there, that want to reclaim their title. We have players that are hungry to just prove themselves.
Yep. And this is so cool to see, you know, LFM getting to prove themselves right here, right now, up a game over their opponents. They could very well close it out here. XD clawing themselves back into the series, and XD, they're hungry. They have a style of composition that's able to find picks, but can they? That's the question. Is consistency there?
We're going to find out real soon. If you had a rate, give me a ratio. Which draft do you prefer?
LFM's 55.
55. You're so safe with it. You're not willing to say
Dude, I towered over
51
on it
to 49.
Time. Yeah. I was saying 75, and you're like, what? It's impossible. How is he generating so much power? And I just, I didn't know what to do.
Well, I think you just go with the heart. Go with the heart of the cards when it comes to it. I would have to agree. I think their composition is definitely scary. Their Jaina play has been phenomenal from what we've seen thus far. And the stage dive play earlier was interesting, though. This is another situation where we could see that Garrosh Dahaka just responding to the stage dive. That was a slightly different situation where the ETC was teamed up with Ethereal on Cursed Hollow. And they were trying to basically stage dive and throw down the Holy Ground and have the Sanctification and execute. That's very hard. This is a Blaze. Bunker is basically Sanctification easy mode, right? Yep. Like, it's just like, oh, anyone can do this. Cool. Yeah, this is great.
I'm going to be interested to watch the Lucio and ETC matchup because of, you were saying, the sound wave to stop the slides coming in. It's a really good pickup against ETC, but requires fast fingers. It's always just fun for me to watch, that's for sure.
You know, it's fun for me to watch video games that are being played. Let's roll on in to the 6th game of the series with LFM here on the blue. The Aware loading on in. That's going to be Malfurion. Swab's going to be rocking the Blaze. We got Draded coming in on the Genji. Figgy himself will be playing ETC and T. Special T on Jaina.
We got, there we go, Nintori playing the Lucio. Talking Trees, Sun Li Ming, Hami playing that Dahaka, Tiger JK on the Garrosh. And of course, Cover playing Greymane. Ladies and gentlemen, this is XD in the red. They have 2 games. Can they find a 3rd one?
The #1 team throughout the season of the Open Division. Highest points, I think they landed with 525 points, almost 100 more than the 2nd place seed, who didn't even make it through. After losing Prismaticism to one of our HGC teams, just kind of weakened them going into playoffs. But that's the nature of the beast with Open Division. You can crawl your entire team into HGC through this gauntlet known as the Crucible. Oh, is this a repeat?
He's getting found here between mid and bottom, but he's a difficult hero to kill, you know, especially with that 41 armor coming through, but still chunked out. You know, he has to back at this point. So LFM, they get the advantage during the early game, clearing mid, rotating down bottom, clearing that once again. So, you know, I like the fact that they're just stepping in, looking for something. They found Garrosh, not the best target, but still, they get momentum off of it.
Yeah, no, good save regardless too on the side of XD. Does put them a little bit slower when it comes to cleaning up the lanes and getting control of this game. Sapper Camp will be started first here by the side of LFM, and they've got such, you know, fast clear with Jaina alone, but committing 4 members to grab this camp, and then the 5th member rotating down. Brushstalker has to come in. Cover does go down on the Greymane. Figgy is low. 3 missiles connecting there from Li Ming. Hami has the self-sustain there from his Essence, but Genji going for it, looking for more. The oil has been dropped, and the kill on Greymane will be the only one.
That was absolutely huge. The whole way that LFM were able to find the pick onto Garrosh, force him to back, know that he wasn't there for the invade. They started their invade, they rotated down Blaze because they know that Dahaka on this map, you can invade enemy, oh my word, Sapper camps with that the global advantage, but LFM are getting everything. Do they get this camp? Nintori stepping in, but Figgy is there to take it, and LFM just dominating this early game so far, but the drag lands.
All right, so they finally get the punish onto ETC. They have to clean up this camp, but a lot of experience has been missed here. We had Blaze rotate from top to mid to make sure he can soak both lanes effectively, and that will earn them enough experience to make this feel okay with that invade.
XD trying to find level 4. Will come in very, very soon here off of this bottom camp, or bottom wave, sorry. Members of LFM just splitting mid. Both of these teams just trying to clear waves, generate a little bit of pressure on the map, but neither are really able to do it at this point. Alters are active in the next 25 seconds, so top left, top right, and very bottom. Global advantage here for XD. Let's see if they can utilize it.
I guess that's the big thing right now. So far, with the way that we've had this like heavy 5-man, 4-man LFM pressure on the camps, they've tried to nullify the effectiveness of Dahaka in the global by pulling him out of that lane. But once you go into the altar phase, it becomes a little bit different. They both channel, and then you can have the 5v4, 5v3 much quicker than your opponents if you're willing to commit to it. So Blaze has to start that slow rotation down, whereas the Brush Talker is here. And ETC is very far forward. He does a power slide. It's going to be connected, but beautiful positioning from Tiger, finding the flip onto Figgy. The damage from Li Ming is enough to help get in, go for the throw. Flying in is the Greymane, trying to find that kill. Tiger JK on the backside doesn't have a lot of HP, but this should be the favorable posture for this next altar.
Yeah, Talking Tree stepping up, getting some Q damage there onto Draded. So Tiger actually getting massively chunked out. But yes, I don't expect LFM to be able to take this one. You know, Greymane now sitting on the cap.
Yeah,
we're gonna pick that one up.
ETC is up, but altar is done.
It's gonna go over to XD. So a little bit of an advantage for themselves. They've got the global, and they played that one well. You know, they had the Brush Stalker in. They end up getting the kill onto ETC, which is exactly what they wanted at that point. But now, XD, what is their move? Sappers started for LFM.
Yeah, they're just going to keep playing that game. You know, they have gotten a little bit of Sapper damage on the bottom lane, considering half health on that tower. The wall is completely down. Every Sapper forward is, you know, it's a war of attrition when it comes to the resource of your structures on this game. And so far, that's where LFM is putting their emphasis.
Talking Trees, you know, is the focus, but able to teleport to safety in this mid lane. And now, Sapper started for XD, but they don't have level 7. They have to be cautious of this.
Just trying to keep them away. It's a 4-man dive. The power slide in as Tiger JK is taking a ton of damage. Blizzard crashing down, forcing his retreat to be unfavorable. As we do have the Brush Talker coming down. Figgy, also low himself, ends up dying. Resets for Li Ming. The orb connects there onto the Aware, and Trees is looking for more, but Genji picks him up. A double kill, 2 for 2 right now in this fight, and cover is fairly low. Sappers colliding on in. Back and forth is this game.
XD played that very well, actually, because they didn't have level 7. They backed up perfectly, basically, baited out the Q from ETC, ended up pushing in, but they end up getting the kill onto Malfurion, but the trade, 2 for 2, so I think XD are okay with this, you know, end up grabbing the camp. But yeah, you know, when you're a little bit behind, the trade's good.
The one benefit there for LFM is just their Sappers did remove some towers and do some good damage structurally, so it does give them a slight XP lead in this game still, but it's 4 kills to 3 kills for XD, and they have the altar lead. This will just keep the game very even with a simple pacing as we approach 10, but Trees does stall a little bit, has to be careful here. A lot of rotations coming forward. Jet Propulsion does whiff. Good speed boost coming out from Nintori to make sure the retreat is more than enough. Fast
feet there by Li Ming.
Swift souls.
Yeah, cap going over. So just a very even game so far. Yes, a little bit of an advantage so on the side of XD. They got the 4-shot advantage. But meanwhile, XD, they're clearing bottom wave. Both of these teams basically just looking at hitting level 10. That's when everything is going to start to explode. You know, once we get the 1 altar point and then the level 10 talents. But LFM are just, they're doing very well in terms of experience. A little bit ahead of their opponents, even though they're down a kill.
And, you know, that's when this is the phase of the game where they don't have the global. They've done a good job of trying to minimize the effectiveness of that Dahaka in the top lane, forcing him to rotate actively through the aggression they've applied to these bottom camps. And ETC is about to have stage dive to nullify that advantage, and at least that's what we expect to see.
Level 10s here for LFM. Instant lock-in of that water elemental. Again, just one that we're seeing quite consistently here.
Yeah.
ETC, he's making us think. Not picking the stage dive quite yet. We'll see what happens with Blaze. Blaze starting to rotate down, but ETC sticking with the team for the most part, looking at the rotations here, making sure that they don't get collapsed on. What's it going to be? Is it go for the throat? Is that what it's going to be?
Well, level 10 has been reached. We'll find out.
Oh, it's Curse.
Yeah, Curse Bullet. It's been locked in. Warlord's Challenge, the isolation for Dahaka. ETC still holding, and Leeming has to do the same. If he goes Mosh Pit, you go Wave of Force, but actually Wave of Force locked in regardless as stage dive comes through.
There it is. Tiger just watching the invasion from LFM. LFM pushing in now. They want to fight in these close quarters.
Again, Dahaka forced out of that top lane, but the Sapper Camp is going to be grabbed. Big damage coming through. Tiger is low, so is Cover. Trying to retreat. That bunker with the elemental. Stage dive point blank, but the sound barrier is perfect. Oh, Cover so close to finding that kill, and the orb missed by an inch onto Figgy. These low targets, they need to back away.
That was so close. The Wrecking Ball to throw ETC over, and he survives with 10% health. And then, of course, the perfect sound barrier from Nintori to save his team. XD, they're holding on here. That was an excellent disengage from that fight. Now it's a single altar, but some heroics have been used. No Twilight Dream either.
Lucio has picked up the nice big heals for his team and topped them off. Sappers trying to march forward as we do see the drag thrown out from Hami. That means they have no forward aggression. And you see immediately Figgy stepping in. Genji dives forward, Blizzard onto both the front line. And a three-man jet propulsion. That forces out the burrow here. The bunker drops to lock him in, and that is a beautiful pick. That's going to be a second as Tiger is so far from home. Beautiful fight from LFM.
Three-person jet propulsion right there. The Blaze just absolutely proving why you put swabs on this hero. Then the follow-up was just hardly even necessary because the front line of LFM are absolutely dominating in this series. Like, they've been playing so well. We saw swabs when he was on that Artanis just making big plays. You know, we've seen some decent stage dives come in. We've seen, you know, just these warriors. And speaking of stage dive, here we go, but not able to find anything is Figgy. He's flexing the dive, you know?
Making sure that that bell tower is theirs, making sure that they control this bottom lane, they can continue their aggressive posture towards these bottom Sapper camps, and honestly, you know, it's really just denying the value that Dahaka would get in the global.
He's in there.
That was interesting.
So I get just a little ambitious there to try to find a pick. Was the Garrosh, but yeah, just easily turned because the minion waves weren't there, so the fort starts turning on him, and just lots of damage. 13s there for LFM too, so not the best engage, and XD are going to be set back a little bit off that one.
I don't know if it's just a momentary lapse of concentration because you're frustrated about that last fight, but you know, that pick right after losing a bottom bell tower and the desperation of trying to reclaim it, it's not a map that's easy to do. The bottom lane is so defensible for the offensive side, and those kills, I mean, that can mean so much. They cannot do anything right now, waiting for the Garrosh to get back on the map.
I completely agree. It's huge. Global advantage for XD at this point. Talent advantage for LFM because the global is topside, and I love it. Look what's happening on the map. The Warriors are trading spots. They're high-fiving in the mid lane because you want to put your ETC somewhere where he can gain value with this stage dive. Blaze likely just going to rocket right into this team fight or just go cap the altar. So nice job by LFM. That was actually a pretty much perfect rotation with the heroes that they had, even though they're missing a bit of top.
This is the, fourth altar phase of the game, so it's the single altar. That's a benefit here for the side of XD because they just need to hit level 13. They defended the Sappers to the best of their ability. They took the 5 damage from that altar. When it comes to the state of the health in the core, it's totally even. I mean, 5 points is negligible in the grand scheme of things. The experience and the bell tower control is the issue.
It's everything. Bot control is so huge on this map, as you were saying a little bit earlier, and LFM, they have the comp where they can actually just clear the wave from, you know, decent range. XD, they're stepping up, they're getting aggressive again, but they have to be cautious. We saw, you know, Garrosh looking for a little bit of an overambitious play earlier. They have to make sure that they don't do that same thing because stage dive can show up, Genji can show up out of nowhere.
Like, this slow poke is excruciating for them, but necessary, because they need to just kind of even the playing field once again, get that experience for their team, try to catch up. Dahaka has been able to sit in the top lane. Greyman's moved to the mid to make sure they get that soak, because Genji's there, but they're looking for Draded. Oh, he is on point, knowing that Dahaka was missing. Yep,
very smart to just spend your Swift Strike, like get out. Don't even risk getting hurt there. And I love what's happening here. Swab's just soaking all of the damage from Talking Trees. He can lay down the oil, heal himself up that way, and of course, you've got the Malfurion there too. Tiger JK now getting a little bit, aggressive, starting position deeper.
I mean, if you can get the kill on Genji, that could just make all the difference in the world if he was to be rotating down and they weren't sure. Draded is now the one that's in the bush, having the intel for himself.
And that's huge, because Tiger was going to rotate down with the minion wave and look to dive, but not able to find it. So nice job by Draded to scout out the Garrosh here.
This is a tremendous situation for LFM. They're looking at just about level 16 for their team and all 3 altars on the map. So yes, Dahaka with that global will be able to rotate quickly, but ETC can do that as well. But the blow up! Oh, Bunker goes down and Swab steps away. X-Strike denied by the Sound Barrier. Hami on the back looking for Swabs, but Garrosh goes down. The Twilight Dream onto Dahaka. What a beautiful execution here from LFM.
LFM, they turned what looked like a very dead Blaze into 2 kills. 16 here for LFM. They are picking up shot after shot. Down to 13 is XD. They are trying to hold on in this series. This could be their last game here. LFM are just absolutely dominating so far. Bottom control almost throughout like the entire game at this point. They're getting pick after pick. They are proving that they are a team that deserves to be in the HGC.
They had a game plan from the beginning, and it has worked out so well. Guess what? You have a global advantage. We're just going to absorb the sappers and pressure the bottom lane. That is all they cared about, and that has netted them every edge in the world.
It really, really has. And now LFM, they're looking at just getting some of these sappers pushed in, if at all possible. 3 moving in there. That's absolutely huge. Oh, another 3 en route. Figgy stepping up, another one.
Oh my
Tiger
goodness.
getting chunked, another 2.
He's so anxious to find that flip, but he just can't do it. The negative armor coming in with that 16 talent of Jaina. I mean, right now.
Is this it? They can force boss, they still have 16 advantage, and then just get 1 cap. They've opened up a win condition at this point. Do they do it? It doesn't look like it, because Draded's already stopping on the mid wave. That is something they could have done. Also, double altar cap. They only need 1 end boss to secure this game. XD on their way. Now they have just hit 16. They are doing it, but this is slow. They could have done it so much faster. This could have been an insanely strong play, but now they are finding it. This is an end condition for LFM.
And they cannot get there in time. In fact, they should just hunker up and go for both of the altars here. Try to find a way to slow down the rotation. 3 HP remains. As you mentioned, a single altar. This mid altar would spell disaster right now for the side of XD and end their chances of entering the HGC.
Cover. He got 1 on the side of XD. 16's here. Is this the fight?
Jet Propulsion only connecting on Tiger. Genji going in. Draded looking for the damage on the backside here. Lots of big damage coming in as the Blizzard and the Water Elemental is enough for the Sound Barrier. Barely keeping Tiger JK alive. Oh, the power slide in, however, with the silence is enough. Garrosh down. They need a kill right here, right now. Cover is so low, and Lucio's healing is just not sufficient.
Jet Propulsion!
The Blizzard is too much after that Jet Propulsion, and they are falling one after the next. LFM look to retain their position here in the HGC.
Last cap here. Aware, channeling it. Oh, the damage comes through from Li Ming. Nintori now just trying to hang on to this game as best he can, but Draded is there.
Desperate.
T with that last, the Q is not even enough. Aware is channeling, and ladies and gentlemen, LFM hang on. They take this series and they earn their way, or still, into the HGC.
It's been hard fought for them. This is a team that has competed in the Crucible. Literally every single Crucible we've had, all 3, coming from the Open Division last year, 1 year from now, lost in eventing. Then again, lost in eventing, which then soon disbanded after. They then made their way to HGC, where they've been growing as a team. But the Crucible called, and they held their spot strong versus their opponents of XD. Congrats, man. They did it.
They absolutely did, and they have to be feeling so good because they started off this series not having the best of luck. You know, some internet problems. You know, we had a bot at one point, so the fact that they were just able to stick with it mentally and just follow through, they proved to be very consistent here. Yes, they had, you know, a couple of games where they just got, you know, walked over a little bit in some situations, but we can argue that that could have been mainly down to the draft. And XD, they just flipped their switch. You know, they showed up in those games, but LFM proved to be the more consistent team, and absolutely congratulations to them. That's fantastic.
Kala, we haven't looked at any replays today. I think it's about time we do that.
I would love to check out a replay at this point. I have one from the beginning of the game, and I think it's absolutely huge because when you have a Garrosh, when you have a Dahaka like this, so if you're to pause, the context here is the fact that Tiger got chunked out really hard during the early game, and what you want to do with the Dahaka is have a very neutral early game and look to invade with your 5v4. Blaze is already rotating down because they know that this is the play, and if you resume it, look where Blaze is. He's coming down, so now you're just using your global. If we continue and play this clip, you have your global now being matched by the Blaze, so it's a moot point, and now you're just overextended super far if you're XD. And then the combo from Draded, so much damage on the cover, they get a kill here. Figgy, yes, also getting chunked out, but the fact that the entire early game of XD was nullified by Tiger getting chunked out during the mid-bottom rotation is so huge. And to me, this was just it was a massive moment for LFM to just really snowball the momentum in this game.
Their early game shot calling was superb throughout the series, and their drafts too. That Jaina pick, I mean, especially in those situations where you know that you're going to be fighting over the sappers a lot, that was clearly their approach to the game. Jaina is insanely valuable in those small choke point scenarios.
No, I completely agree. It was a beautiful pick. We saw the mage numbers actually being quite mirrored. Talking Trees with 47,000 on the Li Ming and then 43,000 on Jaina. So, and the most hero damage in the game for that team. So lots of damage from the Jaina.
Too.
Yes, 7 and 0, I believe.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. So huge playmaking from the Jaina pickup. T just proving his prowess on the Frost Mage.
Well, LFM have retained their spot, and we've got Figgy on the line. Figgy, congratulations, man.
Thank you guys so much.
So, I mean, just coming into the series, obviously, like I said, this is the third Crucible this team has had to go through, and this time you guys were the ones defending for the first time. Was the mentality confidence, or were you worried?
We were really confident going through this series. We weren't sure what the score is going to be, but we knew we'll come out ahead for sure. So we just prepped it like how we prepped our usual week matches.
Were you surprised that King's Gambit chose No Tomorrow as their opponents?
Not really, since we're like friends, like us and King's Gambit are like talk a lot during the season, and I think they knew that we're the better team in terms of the Crucible teams. So no surprise there.
Colin?
My question basically, what did you guys do differently about preparing yourselves for the Crucible compared to, let's just say, an HGC weekend? Because this is arguably your most important series that you've probably ever played. You know, maybe you can even compare them to previous ones. But what do you do differently as a team?
So first of all, since it's a best of 7, we'll have to practice a lot more maps. Usually we just run down our best 3, 4, 5 maps. But for this weekend, I think we actually practiced all 8 maps except our band map. So that was a bit of a change. And also, we scrimmed a lot more this weekend. So our team's feeling really confident going into this weekend. Yeah.
And that was a big thing for me, noticing being in the scrim environment as well. I've noticed that you guys have absolutely stepped up both how much you're playing and just the level of play. Is there anything that you would attribute to that, or would it just be raw amount of time playing?
I think, first of all, obviously our scrim time went up by, I think, double this week. And also, it's really nice that the Crucible is on the old patch, so that we had, I think, 3, 4 weeks playing on this patch. So that really helped us because we knew what we want. We just practiced with the same, well, kind of boring, but same heroes every scrim. And this is why we won this weekend, I think.
Right on. I also just wanted to personally congratulate you because that was a very exciting series. So nice job to you and all of your teammates.
You know,
thank you so much.
The last question I have for you is just, you know, when you consider the situation that we had there for XD, with Jin getting picked up and then Tiger JK getting pulled in for the playoffs, but then them role swapping Hami and Tiger, was it like weird to have to practice for a team that you didn't necessarily know how they were going to approach draft-wise and just, you know, shot calling? Because changing your tank can really change a whole team.
Yeah, I agree. It was a bit uncomfortable for us at first because we didn't know what they're gonna pick, and they only ran with Tiger for like I think one tournament, so we had to come in this weekend with like just standard draft, like as standard as we get, and if we can be the better team, we're gonna win. So,
well, congratulations, man, and I want to give you the opportunity to give shout-outs if you wish.
Thank you so much. I want to give shout out to LFM, my teammates. I think everyone played really well today. Couple of draft mistakes by me, so that was my bad. And I want to shout out to our coach here at Physio. He helped us a lot.
Well, congratulations once again to everyone here at LFM. And, you know, that's a huge success, holding their spot again. The story of that team having to play in all 3 Crucibles and holding strong. I can't wait to see the way they'll grow next season in HGC.
Me too, especially if they're able to step it up. They have proven to themselves that raw amount of game time and focus equates to playing better. And of course, that's, you know, something that most people just know if you were just to look at the situation. But proving it to yourself, that can do a lot for a team's morale, a team's culture. So yeah, maybe we're going to see some really exciting stuff out of this team moving forward.
I certainly hope so, and that was an explosive first series of this North American side of things, but we are far from done. There's another batch coming in tomorrow as we take a look at the schedule. So earlier today, on the side of Europe, we saw Leftovers also hold strong in a 4-1 over Granite Gaming, and LFM just defeated XD in the 4-2. Coming up tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific is Diamond Skin versus Worst Positioning.
It's going to be a good one.
It is going to be a good one. And then No Tomorrow going up against King's Gambit. Which one are you more excited for?
Personally, obviously, because I'm from North America, I'm excited for our series. Yeah, King's Gambit and No Tomorrow I think is going to be fantastic. But also just the story associated with the EU teams I think is going to be fantastic. So if you guys are looking for some exciting Heroes of the Storm, don't miss it tomorrow. It's going to be good.
So I'm going to give you the hook real quick. I'm going to give you the hook.
There we go.
Jin, who was on XD, is now on No Tomorrow. So he's a player that came from Open at the tail end of the season and entered Pro. But he's fighting with his team for their tournament life as they are in that 8th place spot in HGC, tied 2-12 in the ratios. Looking at the side of King's Gambit, they're kind of like the dark horse in this whole event. They only barely made it into playoffs for Open Division. In the final cup, they had to place 2nd place or higher. They placed 2nd place to XD, if I'm not mistaken. But going into playoffs, they won in the winner bracket, and they won in the playoffs, and they looked good.
So good. But that's the biggest thing. The whole theme of the weekend is consistency. Are they the King's Gambit that we have seen and grown to love at this point? Because, yes, speaking about the entire Open Division, they were a lower team. But then those last weeks, they are absolutely destructive. And I would say arguably the best amateur team that I've probably ever watched.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, what did they eat this morning?
Like, I actually said that at one point. I'm like, what are you feeding these guys?
So tomorrow, No Tomorrow, and going up against King's Gambit for our North American side should be fantastic. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. GG's.
To consider the fact that